where you're starting and how you got there, that one requires a lot more in-depth look at yourself. It requires a lot more honesty. It requires a lot more ownership. And a lot of people really don't want to do that because a lot of the reasons why people are where they're at and how they got there, like it's really personal things in their lives and they're really entwined together. Like, for example, a lot of people don't like the job they have. They don't like what they do for a living. They're not passionate about it. It's not something they went to school for, but it's providing resources for them, their family, if they have a family. So because of the stress that people have from the job, travel, hours, you name it, as they get closer to the weekend, they start thinking about what am I going to do for the weekend? And a lot of times their social network that is going to relieve them from their job is not a healthy one. It's time with family, it's time for friends, oftentimes food, drinks, things like that, just entertainment, recreational things, and lack of sleep. A lot of people don't sleep the best on the weekend because they're trying to get an escape from their job. So when you're trying to implement anything nutrition or health wise, and you have to assess honestly, hey, this thing that's very important to me, the people in my life, the people I love the most, they're really important to me, but they may be contributing to why I'm unhealthy and they may be contributing to why I'm at where I'm at. That conversation is very, very difficult because if you have to pull yourself away from that environment, and that's the environment that's been giving you relief from just your professional life, what's that conversation look like? How do you tell the people that mean the most to you in this world that, hey, I have to step back? Because it could be met with support. It also can be met with resistance, like why, like what did we do? And it's not a guilt thing, but it's a reality thing that a lot of people need to have this conversation with themselves, is that, hey, this is contributing to me why I've added this much weight, or why I'm not sleeping, or why that I'm going into the following week, less healthier than I went in the following months, years later. And those are really, really hard conversations. And people oftentimes refuse to have them because the conversation is difficult, but the conversation needs to be had. Because any attempt you have at this has to have ownership in it. Whether it's you feel like it's your fault, whether you feel like it's someone else's fault, and maybe it's no one's fault at all, it's just the reality of the situation, you still need to have that conversation with yourself. And oftentimes, the best way to do that is you got to do it in silence. You have to really take time and take patience and spend time with yourself and really understand what you're asking your body to do. These are not easy conversations to have because a lot of the times the advice you're getting from, whether it be from podcasters, influencers, whoever it may be, what you're not hearing from them, the step that they are not telling you they're doing, that their why, their purpose is already established in what they're doing. This is their job. This is how they get money. This is how they acquire resources for them, themselves, their family, for whatever goal they have professionally. So it's already tied in. So their motivation to do it is going to be different than yours. So when you're following their plan and you're trying to implement this plan and you haven't established those things, your purpose, your why, where you started and why you started there, you're firing into the dark. You don't have anything that you're really aiming at or that you're focused on that you can really sink your teeth into. And you really need to establish that first. That has to come before any nutrition plan, any workout plan, any popular thing you think you're just going to throw on top. And again, it's a tough conversation to have, but it's one that needs to be had if you want to be successful at this. And you have to give yourself time. You have to give yourself some patience. You also have to give yourself some grace. Don't go into it with guilt. You are where you are, and you're just using it for a starting point, just to realize, okay, these are the things I need to do. This is where I got here. These may be the things I need to avoid. These are the conversations I need to have. They're not going to be easy, but once you have them, once you really establish where you're starting, how you got there, and maybe having these honest conversations with the people around you who may have contributed not on purpose, just because you live in life, you're trying to escape from work, it's busy, it's stressful, you're working really hard, you're trying to get a little resistance, a little relief from your busy life, and it may be an unhealthy thing that's just physically contributing to why you are where you are, and don't feel guilty about that. Just take your time, give yourself some patience. You really need to do this step first before you put anything else in its place if you want to be truly successful at this long term.